Boom, bing, bing, ping, ting, ting, ting. Do you guys not respect that I have a right to peace and quiet? Unbelievable. Look at this balcony. You can see my footprints where I stepped. Have they never cleaned this? So I'm getting ready to go to work. I just confirmed my address. I wrote the address in the Go Viet app, and I sent an OK message. And hello, bạn đã Go Viet đúng không? I don't understand. I wrote the address. I confirmed the address. I said okay, and they still have to call me to confirm again. Do they not understand the concept of messages? In 2020, we have to do everything over the phone still, huh? Oi, oi. Cameron Traducan here. I'm a little bit tired. I'm a little bit run down. And that actually is kind of why I chose to do today's video. So I hope you found that introduction somewhat amusing. And today we're going to talk about being a jaded expat. So first of all, what is a jaded expat? A jaded expat, I defined it as someone that's disproportionately bothered by small things about the country or culture that they live in. Now, let me tell you a quick story to illustrate this. When I first came to Vietnam, I was excited about everything. Everything was novel. Everything was new. Every single time you went outside, it was an adventure. You would cross the street and there'd be so many motorbikes. And it was fun. It was kind of like a game. Kind of like the same thrill you get from going on a roller coaster. That was the thrill you got from going to the street. All the food tasted so good. Every single time a stranger would talk to you, you'd be like, oh, this is interesting. And I remember in Ho Chi Minh City, we have these things called motorbike taxis. And these are basically taxis where they're just a motorbike. So it's a guy sitting on a motorbike, and he'll ask you where you're going. And then you can say, I'm going here, and they'll take you there. And before, like 4 or 5 years ago, they would say, where are you going? Or, you know, they don't speak English well, their grammar's not there, so they say, where you go? And my friend and I, we would joke and we'd say, I go to home, where you go? And we would joke about that with those motorbike taxi guys. But now, maybe not now, but I remember like 1 or 2 years ago, when I would see these guys, they would say, where you go? And I would literally feel like the stress response, the cortisol response occurring in my body. Why does this occur? Why is it that when we first moved here, it was so exciting, and then everything, to be quite frank, just kind of sucks after you've been here for a while? Well, in my opinion, there's something that happens at the point where things stop being novel. There's a kind of a fundamental change in how we're viewing the situation. Whereas once we're like, oh, this is so novel, this is so interesting. Well, then after a while, after we've lived here for a while, we then have the opinion like, it shouldn't be this way. And that's actually why I think that people become jaded. They see the world in a way where they say, the world is not how it should be. Or in other words, the way the world is, they cannot accept it. So it leads to them becoming jaded. And I think another thing that can occur is a prolonged stress response, especially in Ho Chi Minh City. Ho Chi Minh City is quite a stressful place to live. Between the traffic, the pollution, the noise, I won't go into the other things, but there's a lot of things that can be stressful living here. So how do you avoid becoming the person that they live in Ho Chi Minh City, or they live as an expat in another country, but they're just kind of miserable about it? Well, I think that there's a couple different things that we can do to avoid this, or at least minimize the times where we're in this kind of negative state. The first thing is to try to understand that the way the country you're living in, the country you've expatriated to, the way that they do things is not the same as the way your home country does things. And feeling resistance about this, it's not going to change anything. So kind of just accept that, instead of being like, I can't believe people can smoke in public places here, or I can't believe that people chew and they chew noisily, hum, hum, hum. Instead of getting like bitter about that or allowing that to bother you, just kind of appreciate that you can say, oh, well, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but I am grateful that I have an opportunity to see how the world is different in different places. So that'd be the first thing I'd recommend, is try to accept the differences between where you are and where you are from. The second thing I would say is to try to take hard resets. What I mean by that hard reset or a jadedness reset is try to travel away from the country that you're based out of. Try to travel away from there a couple times a year. I saw that when I'm in Ho Chi Minh City for too long, it's easy for me to get jaded here. But if I go to the US for a month, or I go to Thailand for a month, I start to remember the things I liked about Ho Chi Minh City. And then it's a lot more fun to be here. I can actually appreciate it. So if you have the chance, oh, sorry, my arm's getting tired. I'm a weak man here, flipping the camera. So if you get the chance, try to travel to multiple places to just take a break from where you're living. Another thing I found very helpful to avoid becoming jaded is to take what I call hard resets or jadedness resets. So in the same way, if your computer or your phone is having some problems, you would do a hard reset. I think you can do the same thing with jadedness. So when you feel like, oh, dude, I'm just kind of sick of this country. Well, if that happens, or if you're saying I'm sick of this city, I recommend you try to take a vacation. Get away from the things that are bothering you. If you're living in Ho Chi Minh City and you're just getting sick of it, go to Japan or go to the USA or go to Australia. Especially I've seen that going from developing countries to developed countries, that can really cure your jadedness and make you appreciate wherever you are living more. If you're living somewhere that's developing, going to a developed country can help you appreciate more the low cost of living, some more personal freedoms that sometimes occur in developing countries, kind of like the relaxed lifestyle. And if you are living in a developed country and you go to a developing country, you can appreciate more, oh wow, the jobs and the salaries are so great here. I like that everything is organized. There's like an order to things. So whichever way you're going, it can help you feel less jaded and appreciate where you chose to live more. Now, the final thing I'd say to conclude this video, like a final piece of advice I could give you to avoid becoming jaded, is to develop more skills over time. Something I've noticed is that a lot of my friends that are more successful than me, it's a lot more difficult for them to get jaded because they have more options in life. You know, if you have the ability to travel anytime you want, it's much less likely that you're going to get jaded in Ho Chi Minh City or jaded wherever you are, because when you do get jaded, you can move, right? Or at least you know, I don't have to be here. Many of the people that I've seen that are the most jaded are people, not to single out English teachers, but English teachers are a great example of people that can become jaded because there's only so many places you can go and be compensated well, especially if you're not qualified. Maybe if you're in an international school, that would be an example of upping your skills or upping your qualifications, because you can get in a good international school in many, 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 many places in the world and be well compensated. But if you are, let's say you are from Russia or Italy, and you're trying to teach English for a living here, then there's not that many options in the world where you can be a non-native speaker, especially if you don't have qualifications, and still expect to get paid $20+ an hour while enjoying a low cost of living. So if that is you, which it's been me in the past, so not hating on you, but if that is you, try to develop more skills so that you don't feel stuck somewhere. I think when you feel stuck somewhere, it's a lot easier to get jaded and resent that place. So I hope you found these tips helpful. Today is actually my 23rd birthday, so I'm gonna be shooting out to my quote-unquote birthday dinner soon. Not sure what that's going to consist of. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and it was great catching up with you. And I hope to see you again soon.